All right, so 8th grade, we are working on color wheels. And here's one that a student got done yesterday. If you buckle down and do this, I do think maybe she needs as I'm looking at this on the computer, we need a little more red on here to get this to be blue-violet. And we've got a lot of white showing here. So that one needs a little bit of work to get the white covered up so it looks as dark as orange or as violet. Okay, so I'm going to go here and talk about this for a sec. So I started with my 3 primary colors and colored those down nice and clear. Then on this section, I am doing stippling, which can be done quietly, and you don't want to do it so it's making noise. And if you're doing it with marker, it should be quiet. So I'm doing dots, not quite covering all the white. And then I'm coming back on with the red. So I'm going to fill this whole box in with these dots. And I've got I want to have about half and half red and yellow. I don't mean dividing the box in half. I mean 50% red dots, 50% yellow dots. Okay, then over here on my yellow-orange, I still have too much white. So I'm going to come back in here with some yellow. This time I want to have about a quarter of red dots and 3/4 red dots. So I can do this even with markers that don't mix. If I give it a small enough pattern, then when you get back from it and look at it on the computer or from across the room, it will look yellow-orange. So this is getting there. It's getting there, but that's going to take me a little longer than I have right now. Okay, now on this section, I'm doing hatching lines. So I'm making for my yellow-green, I'm making a wide yellow line with a space left for a skinny blue line. Blue. Okay, and actually, right here where I'm close to it, it just looks like stripe. But when I look at the computer, I get the feeling of yellow-green. Now here, for my green, I'm going to do equally spaced, equally sized blue and yellow lines. And it's going to fill green. Okay? And then for my blue-green, I'm going to use bigger blue lines and skinny little yellow lines to get it to look blue-green. Okay, for my violet down here, and we call it violet on the color wheel, I've got red and blue. Now, on all of these, I want to do enough that I cover all the white on the paper. Okay, so yes, that is looking purple. When I look at the computer, it does not look purple up close to it, but look at the computer there, and it looks good in dark purple. Violet. So for my blue violet, I want to put some really heavy blue lines. I'll do just a little bit here with a skinny little space left for my red. The band is going next door. Okay. Now for my red, I'm going to have heavy, heavy, heavy red lines and skinny little blue lines. Okay, so you need to do this color wheel neatly and fill the whole thing out so you understand how the colors are mixing. All right, now, so that's step one of the color wheel project. Step two is you're going to take a plain piece of paper and very lightly with pencil, draw around a plate, make your 12 spaces with your 6 lines, cross them in the middle, then put your initials around, just like it's on here. I've got Y for yellow, yellow green, G for green, B for blue green, all the way around. If you have an extra space, you're going to have wanted to use very light lines so that you can clean it up neatly. Then you are going to take a medium that will mix colored pencil or crayons. So I am using colored pencil here, and I am going to do a little bit on my red violet. And I pulled out a violet colored pencil this morning. That's okay. On this one, I want you to try and do it with just the 3 primaries. This one you can mix in the secondaries. Oh, one last thing on this. It says intermediate and tertiary. You know what? Things in books are wrong sometimes too. Where it's intermediate and tertiary mean the same thing. It should say secondary. The secondary colors are those 50-50 ones, which are orange, green, and violet. Okay. The intermediate and tertiaries are the ones in between. Tertiary means 3. So they really made a big boo-boo in there, which means that the person laying out this book really didn't know about colors. But that's okay. So I am going to take my secondary violet here and my red. So I'm going to start with lightly going across this whole space with my violet, nice and smooth. Okay. And I want to go over it until it looks like it's smooth. Then I'm going to take my red, because I want this to be red violet. So I've got to have a smooth layer of red with my violet so it's mixing. Okay, and then I have the bottom part of my A and R coming across here. So I'm going to let the light background be light from pressure. And I'm going to come here, and there's my bottom part of my A. Start with the violet, switch to the red on top of that. Okay, then got a little bit of this R for art. Both the red and violet on top of each other. Neat as I can make them. Okay, and you notice I left it light in the middle because I'm trying to make it bubbly, a little bit like graffiti letters. So I'm going to get that across there. Then I'm going to take my white right here and just push really, really hard and blend that together with the white so that the white is in the middle and the dark is down here. And do that right here too. That's called burnishing. And I'm pushing a little harder. Colored pencil is a harder wax than crayon. You have to push harder. Okay, now for my background to kind of neutralize this color out, what is opposite red violet on the color wheel is yellow green. So I've got yellow and green here, and I'm going to put just a little bit of shading here to neutralize with the yellow and green. So that kind of neutralizes that background and lets my letter stand out as pretty there. Okay, and then I'm going to work my way around a section just like that. And then here is a finished one. Okay. This one I did a couple years ago, and you see I kind of did dark to light on the slice too, which is a way you can vary it up. Okay, so 8th grade, you are working on these today and tomorrow. And if we need to run into Thursday, we will, but I am going to have new information on Thursday. So you need to be on the Google Meets on your days that you are at home. So,
can you tell me all the colors since I don't have my paper?
Yes, I can tell you all of the colors. So let's put this here and we'll go through them. Usually you put yellow at the top because it's light. So I've got yellow, then I go yellow, orange, orange. So there's primary here, intermediate, secondary, intermediate, primary. So yellow, yellow, orange, orange, red, orange, red, red, violet, violet, blue, violet, blue, blue, green, green, yellow, green.
I lost you at red, violet.
Red, violet. So right after red, violet is violet. Yellow and violet are right across from each other. And what do we call that relationship when colors are straight across from each other? Complementary. Okay. And you can use complements two ways. If you put them side by side without mixing, they make each other look brighter. If you put them and mix them, they will make each other look duller, like they were doing here. Let me grab an example of complementaries that are not mixed. Okay, so where I've got a red and green pattern here on this bunny shape, where I have them overlapping a little bit, it looks like a dark line. There is not a dark line on there. That is just from the red and green overlapping. So it's making like a neutral where they're overlapping. But see how much brighter they look that way than when you mix them. When you mix them, they will make a neutral. Here's another example. Okay, so I've got orange and blue side by side. They're making each other look good and bright there. And then over here, I've got orange and blue where I mix them with paint and they make kind of a real brown neutral. Okay, so one of the things with color is you've got to play with it a little bit to kind of find out how it works. Okay, I'm going to stop.